Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today. I'm Jamey, that's Dave, that's Heath. We got the starts and sits you need to help you dominate your fantasy leagues in week number 5. And let's start with the start of the week. Let's get that streak going here. Jalen Hurts was great last week. This week it's going to be Leonard Fournette, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back, coming off his best game to date, over 100 total yards. He's now got at least 11 PPR points in 3 of 4 games this season. Hopefully carries over one more time with a touchdown. He has yet to find the end zone. He's seen Ronald Jones run one in. He's seen Giovanni Bernard catch one. But this is a great matchup, taking on the Dolphins defense that allowed 6 touchdowns to running backs on the season. 4 guys have gone over 90 total yards against them. 3 of those guys have rushed for at least 100 yards. So hopefully this is a big game coming for Leonard Fournette. We're all on the same page. We all have him at least as a top 18 running back here. Sportsline loves him. Number 12 running back. So Heath, we got him ranked exactly the same. Is he going to be great?
I think he's going to be great. This is a good matchup. I think the key for Fournette this year might just be when they're playing the bad offenses, because I think it'll be hard for the Dolphins' Jacoby Brissett to keep up on the scoreboard. That should get Tom Brady to handing the ball off a little bit more than he normally does. I expect a good game in the running game, and he'll still catch 3 or 4 passes too.
I'm a little bit worried about trusting Leonard Fournette. It's old habit with Leonard Fournette. And plus, I know this sounds stupid, but Ronald Jones is still there. What if Giovanni Bernard comes back? He takes a little bit of work away. I'm obviously starting Fournette. I just don't have the same expectation as you guys have.
Yes, and I think, look, again, whenever we talk about these guys, we're not talking about the slam dunks, the obvious. You know, he's still in, you saw 58% people are starting him, so not everybody's all in on Leonard Fournette. And even though I think we have him ranked at a certain level, Heath and I a little bit more so than you do, Dave, you're starting him with hopefully the expectations that this is going to be building off of what we saw last week and carrying over to another strong game that you can feel comfortable having him in your lineup. The other starting options for me this week, you're going to see Kirk Cousins bounce back from a poor game last week. I think Damian Harris, based on game flow, has a great performance this week. Josh Jacobs, I like the 5 catches last week. Corey Davis building off a strong revenge game. And then Marquise Brown loves playing on Monday nights. Played 3 Monday night games in his career. 4 touchdowns in those 3 games. So hopefully that carries over to another strong game against the Indianapolis Colts. Dave, let's take a look at your starts for this week. And the name that stands out to me is Damien Williams, because a lot of fantasy managers wondering, okay, I picked him up. Now do I start him? Now, again, practicing in full should be fine. Montgomery's not going to be there. How good could Damien Williams be?
He can be really good, Jamie. I think he's a number 2 fantasy running back for sure. He looked impressive with burst and short yardage fight to get his touchdown. He juked his way through the Lions defense last week. Now he's taking on a Raiders team that's giving up 4.6 yards per carry and at least 1 touchdown to every opposing running back they've faced so far this year. He's going to be the lead guy for Chicago. I think we'll see a little bit of Khalil Herbert, but for the most part, Damian Williams is a guy caught 61 passes in his last 31 games. He can play all 3 downs. Chicago needs him right now. Good number 2 fantasy rusher.
It's just tied into the players that have been picked up this week.
He's at the
Damian
top
Williams,
of the list.
Alex Collins, Samaje Perine. He's number 1
Number
for you.
1.
Number 2 for you, right?
Number 2 behind Collins for me.
If Collins does start.
Right.
Again, we don't know if Chris Carson's going to be out, but for me, it would be Williams in PPR, half in non-PPR. I'd go Collins because I do think he's going to run better than Williams. Williams is going to certainly be more involved in the passing game, but they're basically back-to-back. I just think both guys have very high upside for this week. Let's take a look at your starts. Heath for week number 5, and you're going with interesting names in terms of the quarterback. Still trusting Brandon Cooks, even in a potentially tough matchup. But you got the hot name on there, and that's Cordero Patterson. So does it matter running back, wide receiver, or just absolutely start him no matter what?
It doesn't matter. He's kind of playing both positions. He has 6 or 7 carries every game this season. Each of the last 3 weeks, though, at least 5 catches, at least 58 yards receiving, and 4 touchdowns in those 3 games. That's a lot of receiving yards for a running back. It's not near as many as the Jets are giving up on a per-game basis. 8 catches for 72 yards per game in the passing game to running backs this season. This is a dream matchup for Patterson. He'll be a must-start running back for at least 1 more week.
Should be fun. You know, we'll see if at some point does he come crashing back down to earth. But while he's doing this, you should absolutely try and get him in your lineup. Running back, wide receiver, flex. He's doing a great job for the Falcons. The sits, Heath, so you get to go first after you go on last at the starts. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming off 2 strong games. Back-to-back 100-yard rushing performances, scored in the air twice. High over-under between the Chiefs and the Bills, but you're saying stay away.
Yeah, I'm not sure the over-under is going to help very much against the Bills. They've given up 1 touchdown to running backs all year long. It's just been so tough to run on them. I think this is one of those games. There will be a lot of points. I just think it'll be Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen maybe throwing 90 combined passes. I would like to stay away from the running backs in this game, but I would start Moss over Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Just let me ask you, because I know some people may not watch this live. They may be watching it on demand. if Melvin Gordon is out. Javonte Williams comes off this list, correct?
If Melvin Gordon was out, Javonte Williams would come off the list.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah.
So for people that are watching this, you're seeing Javonte Williams as a sit if Melvin Gordon plays. But if Melvin Gordon is out, Heath would tell you start him potentially as at least a flex option. Let's go to your sits, Dave, and you got three receivers on this list that fantasy managers either once upon a time, maybe even this season, were buying into. Allen Robinson, Odell Beckham, Cortland Sutton. Which one is the best if you were forced to start one of these guys?
If I was forced to start one of them, I think I'd go with Odell Beckham just because of his chance to get downfield and make one big play in the event that Baker Mayfield can accurately throw him a football. That was a problem last week. If Mayfield was on target, Odell wouldn't be on the. He'd be a must start because he would have had over 100 yards and at least 2 touchdowns. But we know that Mayfield's playing hurt, and this Chargers defense is outstanding. They've held Terry McLaurin, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper to under 85 scoreless yards each. No single wideout has more than 10 non-PPR points against the Chargers. I don't like Beckham's chances to be the first.
It's been interesting to see how this defense has performed. They've been daring teams to run. Their secondary has been fantastic, and they're doing it without Chris Harris, who has been dealing with an injury situation. So imagine how good they could be when he's back on the field. The sits for me, the one that makes me the most nervous, to be honest with you, is Myles Gaskin, because I just don't trust him at this point because the Dolphins aren't trusting him at this point. 2 carries last week, no catches. I don't know what they're doing, why they think Malcolm Brown is better. It's been one of the more frustrating storylines that we've seen all season long, and you know what's going to happen. Taking on the Buccaneers, there's not going to be a lot of room to run, and if they're not throwing him the ball, what good is he to your fantasy roster? Now, don't cut him yet, but certainly don't play him this week against the Bucs because it's going to be a very, very bad situation if he's not involved in the passing game. All right, there's your starts and sits for week number 5. We obviously have a lot more stuff that we'll talk about in regards to players to start, players to sit, but those are the players that we're recommending should be in your lineups and the ones that should be maybe on your bench. Want more of the Fantasy Football Today podcast and nonstop year-round fantasy advice? It's simple. Hit the subscribe button and hang with us all throughout the year.